Can you believe this, that Corey Heim, in just his 15th Cup Series start, gets his second career win, running part-time, not even full-time in any of the 3 series this year. 2 wins already this season. Wow. 24 years old. We know he's going full-time racing for 23XI next year, but just the fact that he already has 2 wins, so that's great. What's not really great is like Indianapolis Motor Speedway NASCAR racing. This past weekend was really bad. Arguably the worst race of the entire season, and I'm going to get into why. Main Motorsports, I'm Jake. Let's get into this last weekend at Indianapolis for NASCAR. Corey Heim had himself a great day. Good pit stops, ran up front all day, got a bunch of stage points. Not that that even matters because he's not even running for points, but still, up front, he made not 1, but 2 really good blocks that allowed him to win this race. Again, this is a very track position-based race. I mentioned before the racing was really bad. This first block on Joey Logano, he may have lost the lead to Denny Hamlin here, but the very next restart gets the lead from Hamlin. Hamlin has a run, but Corey Heim blocks him really aggressively down to the bottom of the racetrack. Hamlin has to lift, who's looking for his first Brickyard 400. Wasn't able to do it, but those 2 blocks ultimately won Corey Heim the race. While very aggressive, he had no choice. Once the field got strung out on these restarts, single file, nobody could pass. The dirty air was so bad. I think in the last 30-something, 40-something laps, there was 1 pass within the top 10. It was just a freight train. And props to Corey Heim, too. Christopher Bell was clearly faster on that last run. Bell had a better car. Corey Heim just did everything right. But you saw Bell had a run at one point 2 laps ago, was right there. Can't make the move on the outside at Indianapolis. The second he tucked back in line, the dirty air, Bell lost every single inch of ground he gained in 1 single corner. However, Corey Heim is your Brickyard 400 winner in his first attempt in the Brickyard 400. Speaking of Corey Heim, though, this Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar rivalry, I'm so excited. These two have a history for the last few years of getting into each other. Hell, just a few weeks ago when Corey Heim won his first race, he spun out Carson Hocevar. In this race, earlier, Carson Hocevar was trying to pass Corey Heim and could not do it. Corey Heim was blocking very aggressively, like I mentioned before, but you have to because you can't pass a couple laps after a restart. Coming down pit road, Carson Hocevar goes by and gives him the finger. This is awesome. The broadcast was like, whoa, Hocevar, always bringing a story. And he is. Look at that. Bam, the bird. The funny thing was, watching the highlights like on YouTube, they blurred out the middle finger. Like, are you kidding me? We're at that point that we're blurring out middle fingers. It ain't that big of a deal. It's actually funny. Ultimately, Corey Heim won that war and actually called out Carson Hocevar, basically saying like, well, I won the race, so I really don't care. Where did he finish? Like 9th? This beef is going to be good. It seems like they're not huge fans of each other, but they also like, I feel like they're secretly like low-key friends, like on the down low. But like this rivalry, they're 2 young guys. They're, I think, 23, 24 years old. They're going to be around for a long time. Carson Hocevar is arguably the biggest name in NASCAR right now, and Corey Heim's probably the hottest rising star in NASCAR. So these 2 clashing, like throwing shade at each other every single week, I love it. It's perfect. What the sport needs is some controversy and a good little rivalry between 2 guys that are going to be here for the long run. This race was very bad. I think in stage 2 I fell asleep. The first race with the next-gen car at this track wasn't horrendous. I remember Kyle Larson can make some passes, but the second year, third year, there was like no green flag passes for the lead. You can only pass on restarts and pit road. Once you get strung out, single file, you can't do anything. It's a 1 groove racetrack. You can't really use the second or third lane because there really is no second or third lane in Indianapolis. These cars don't have as much horsepower as they used to. The tires are wider. They don't wear as much. The cars are more equal now in the next gen era. And those things all together make it so that passing is extremely hard, if not impossible. So basically, Corey Heim getting the lead on that last restart, unless his car blew up or it ran out of gas or a tire went down, he would have won that race. All he had to do was hold that line and he won. We saw Bell was faster. We saw Logano was faster. They could not do anything about it. And those are the worst races when the faster cars and maybe the better drivers, they can't do anything just because of how the track is and how the car is. I think Indianapolis is a great racetrack. We see with IndyCar, the racing's phenomenal. These cars in IndyCar punch a big enough hole in the air that they don't even race side by side in the corners. They just get big runs because of the draft. The Cup Series, the draft runs are not as big. And you could go side by side with the Cup cars in Indy, but just getting there side by side is nearly impossible. We see a little bit of passing 20th on back when there's dirty air involved for everybody. But IndyCar, the leader is always breaking that wind for the guys behind. In IndyCar, it's really hard to go side by side in Indianapolis. The reason why it's so good, though, is because the runs come really fast, and they're also going like 40, 50 miles an hour faster consistently. We see in the O'Reilly series, they've been trying that lower horsepower, like super speedway-based package. Shout out to Carson Hocevar for winning this race, by the way, in the O'Reilly series. But they're only going 170 max. They're not going super fast. And yeah, you can kind of get runs on guys, but again, once it gets kind of strung out, you can't do anything about it. You are a sit and duck, track position based race. First time in O'Reilly Series history, Junior Motorsports goes 1, 2, 3, and 4 in one race. Carson Hocevar finally gets his first win. However, this was also controversial. While the Cup race itself was controversial for being bad, Carson Hocevar got criticized because he did a burnout over the bricks. You're not supposed to do that, apparently. It's disrespectful to Indianapolis. Those bricks have been there forever. You do burnouts when you win the race. Everyone does that, but he did it literally on the bricks. He was excited. I don't think it's a big deal, but for the sacred history of Indianapolis, I guess, people were getting mad. IndyCar fans were getting mad. So even a good first-time winner in a race that at least was better than the Cup race, despite it having the lower horsepower and kind of still strung out, still controversial. So Indianapolis did not overall have the greatest weekend. If not, this was probably the worst weekend racing-wise, quality-wise, of the entire season so far. Let's go over a few of these Cup Series finishers. Again, how you see it right here is literally how they lined up on that final restart. I think the only position that changed was that Carson Hocevar passed Tyler Reddick in the last 40 laps. Corey Heim got the lead on the restart, gets his second career win, 58 laps led. Christopher Bell, his 6th second-place finish of the year. Joey Logano, back-to-back top 3 finishes. One at North Wilkesboro, gets a top 3 here. Logano's heating up. Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin, round out your top 5. 2 more Toyotas. 4 of the top 5 are Toyotas. Toyota continues to dominate. Shame for Denny Hamlin. He led 14 laps, had the lead on the second-to-last restart. Still looking for that first Brickyard 400 win. The only crown jewel he has yet to win in his NASCAR career. Brad Keselowski, the 2018 Brickyard winner, solid 6th place, needs that just outside the playoff cutoff line. Josh Berry, a surprise 7th place, actually had a very good day. Good for Josh Berry. He needed that run. He's not returning to the 21 car next year. Needs that run. Ryan Preece, another guy trying to get his way into the chase, 8th place. The aforementioned Carson Hocevar. He fell back. He was your pole sitter, got some stage points. He took 4 tires on that last round of pit stops. Again, track position based. The guys who took 4 tires didn't really do anything with them because once you get strung out, you can't pass no matter how good or bad your tires are because dirty air is king. Carson Hocevar faced 9th, and Tyler Reddick, a good rebound, 10th place because he had a handful of terrible weeks in a row. A couple guys I want to note right here. Honestly, let's just note the entire team. Hendrick Motorsports is terrible. First of all, Carson Hocevar is now the highest Chevrolet in points for Spire. 2 years ago, you would be laughing if a Spire Motorsports car somehow made the chase or the playoffs on points. Now you got 2 of them easily in the chase. Hocevar's up to 5th in points. Suarez is a comfortable 11th. Another decent day at Indianapolis. No Hendrick cars are in the top 5 in points right now. In the last 3 races in Cup, not a single Hendrick car has finished in the top 10. They are downhill spiraling. Not to mention Alex Bowman announced his retirement after the 2027 season. William Byron hasn't really been all that great. And then Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson. This race, oh my God, awful. Kyle Larson was going to be the leader after a round of green flag pit stops. Everything was looking great. Needs that first win of the year. He blows a tire on his own. Oh my gosh. The luck as a Kyle Larson fan has been really bad lately. Thank God I have Suarez to pull for, but like Larson, it's been abysmal. He drops all the way down to 8th in points. Last place. He was on track for a very good day. If not, maybe could have even been the winner of this race because he was going to cycle to the race lead after that first round of pit stops. And then Chase Elliott, only 2 spots ahead in 37th. A terrible day for Chase Elliott. He kind of turned himself off Ricky Stenhouse, thought he was clear, was trying to make his way from the back to the front. We mentioned how hard it was to pass. People were trying to take every run and everything they could get. Elliott got too greedy, turned himself off of Ricky Stenhouse Jr., finished 37th. One more thing I want to mention is that in-season challenge. Blaney versus Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland won. Hell yeah. Thank you, Todd Gilliland, for saving this in-season tournament. I love myself some Todd Gilliland, $1 million. So the guy who actually could use $1 million. Blaney had it in the bag the entire race. Top 10, top 15, better car, better track position, usual stuff. On one of the late race restarts, though, again, the problem with this car at Indianapolis, that 2 laps after a restart, you are not going to pass anybody. Like 95% confident you are not passing anybody else unless something catastrophic happens. People get so crazy on these restarts, 2, 3, even 4 wide, crazy blocks, and Blaney was a victim. Losing spots, trying to get back in line because they're going 3 wide into turn 3. Blaney tries to come down back into the second lane. John Hunter sees it as an opportunity, sends it in a little bit too hard. Blaney comes down, they make contact, spins himself around into the wall. Miraculously, Blaney's car was still pretty decent, but track position was lost at that point. Todd Gilliland shuffled ahead of Ryan Blaney, would go on to win $1 million. Keep in mind, that last run entirely, Todd Gilliland and Ryan Blaney stayed in the same spot for like 30 laps. Todd Gilliland at lap 130 was 24th. At the finish was 24th. Ryan Blaney, like lap 130, 26th. Lap 160, the finish, 26th. No passing at all. This race is like a 2 out of 10 max. It was a poop show. Indianapolis in the O'Reilly series, I'd give a 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10. There was a bit more passing. Even with the tires wearing more and more movement, these cars just like have better racing overall in the O'Reilly series. Still, it wasn't all that great. Allgaier tried to get to Carson Quaffle, couldn't do it. And there was a truck race too at Indianapolis Raceway Park, IRP. Short track ace and the best driver all season, Lane Riggs, another win, 5 wins, led 198 of 200 laps. Unstoppable at short tracks. Speaking of front row motorsports and Lane Riggs, Chandler Smith, who has 2 wins this season driving the 38 truck, is not returning next year to front row motorsports, which is very interesting because he's been doing a really good job. Maybe there's bigger plans in store. Maybe he'll go back to the O'Reilly series. I doubt he's going to have a Cup ride. I think Lane Riggs is more likely to go to Cup than Chandler Smith. But I don't see Chandler Smith not having a ride next year. He's been doing very good this season in the truck series, has a handful of wins with that team. I guess one more thing I want to mention about this Cup Series race, there was a little beef between Noah Gragson and Connor Zilic, and they had a little disagreement for like 30th place, so that's not really too crazy. But yeah. This race is a crown jewel. It's Indianapolis, the most famous speedway in the world. But even before the tire issues in 2008, even before they brought it back in the schedule in 2024, this race always lacked like insane racing. It's not like a Kansas or a Bristol, multiple grooves and just better racing for stock cars overall. This track was designed for Indy cars. And this race, a few people have said this online, this race means more to the drivers than it does to the fans because everyone wants that win at the most historic racetrack in the world. And I agree with that. As a fan, I go into it excited just because it's the Brickyard 400. Then I watch it and I realize, wait, this is the Brickyard 400. I'm going to fall asleep probably. And what do you know? Lap 70, I passed out for like 30 minutes. I woke up to the very end of the stage. You just know, you know the outcome of what's going to happen before the race concludes. That's the worst part about it. And when Corey Heim took the lead, good for him. I have no issue with Corey Heim winning this race. It's just, it's over because no matter how hard Bell tries, no matter what Bell can do, it will never be enough to get close enough to pass that 67 car. And that's why the top 10, those last 40 laps, did not change at all besides like one position, which is embarrassing That's bad. And it makes these drivers look more sloppy because on these restarts, you see a lot of terrible blocks, a lot of wrecking on these restarts because people know they got to get desperate because 2 laps after a restart, you're single file, you are where you are. Your only chance from that point on to gain more spots is another restart, pit road, or other guys having like mechanical failures or something crazy going on. Another thing too I want to point out in the Cup Series side of things, did anybody actually wreck on their own in this race? Besides Kyle Larson's flat tire and Blaney and John Hunter having their issues on a restart being overly aggressive, did anybody else actually wreck on their own from losing control? No. They're on rails. These Cup cars are too easy to drive at some of these tracks. We need to make some changes. We really do. I want to keep going to Indianapolis because I just like the fact that it's Indianapolis. I still get excited for it every single year, but it's just like the racing isn't all there. And the O'Reilly series with the reduced horsepower super speedway S package isn't much better. 4 races to go before the chase for the NASCAR Cup. I almost said the NASCAR Sprint Cup. That's what it used to be called. But yeah, I'm very excited for that. I actually wanted to point out this. I am going to be at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the Cup Series race in just a few weeks' time. Just like Daytona, I'm going to be trying to do a vlog. See how that goes. I'm going with my buddy. My good buddy from high school, throughout college, my friend Maurice. Shout out Maurice again. We head to Iowa next for the first race on NBC. TNT is done. They did a pretty decent job. Better than Fox. Could still use some work, but definitely better than last year's TNT races. NBC, though, is really good. I'm excited to see Leigh Diffie back in the booth. I am Jake. You're watching Man Motorsports once again, and thank you for being nice people. Have a good day, guys. Peace.